Let's straighten up. North Korea has enshrined its status as a nuclear power in its constitution. Leader Kim Jong-un is calling for more modern atomic weapons to counter the threat, well, it says, from the United States. Joining me now is Liberal Party Defence and National Security Policy Chair Lincoln Parker. Lincoln, great to see you, but not so great to read about this apparently exponential growth in nuclear weaponry capabilities.
No, it's really scary. And whilst Australia is being distracted and divided by our own government, we have a collection of our enemies doing everything in their power to prepare themselves for war and use every piece of leverage that they have in their arsenal to make sure that they are on top of what the Allies can put together, particularly at a time like this where the United States is distracted and Australia, of course, is completely distracted and divided like we've never been in our entire history. So this is a perfect time for North Korea's Kim Jong-un to go and say that now put into his constitution, similar to what we're doing here, but put into his constitution that North Korea will be an irreversible nuclear weapons state. So that from now on, moving forward, forever and ever, North Korea will have and develop and hopefully not deploy nuclear weapons.
There was about a 6-month period, I think, where the news was very heavy with the threat of China, the war in Ukraine, Russia's illegal invasion. And I remember having a conversation with a couple of people and saying, I wonder what North Korea is doing now. There has not been a story about North Korea in, I reckon, 6 months. Is this the most dangerous the world has been in modern history, at least? Like, how fraught is the situation?
It is really dangerous, and it doesn't seem like Western media and certainly mainstream media in Australia is even discussing it. We've got North Korea doing what it's doing, we just talked about. We've got China, who has been increasing their military capability exponentially over the last 3 decades, but especially so in the last decade. You know, they now have the largest navy in the world, bigger than the United States Navy. They have a bigger rocket force with longer range weapons than the United States does. They're moving into the Pacific Islands. They're allied with Russia. They're allied with Iran. So we've got all of this happening, staring us down, and yet you know, this wake-up call just does not seem to be coming into, certainly not the Labor government here in Australia. It doesn't seem like the Democrats in the United States are taking much notice of it either.
What about East Timor? What's going on there?
Oh, well, I mean, essentially Australia is being surrounded. So just recently, over this past week, East Timor has signed a comprehensive strategic partnership for military engagement with China. So they're going to engage militarily with China. Now, East Timor, as everybody knows, is just off, it's on Australia's doorstep. It's just off the west coast of Australia. Solomon Islands, which just a couple of months ago did exactly the same thing, and they're just off the north.
Just a couple of months ago. Was the Labor government in power then? Yes. Didn't Senator Penny Wong accuse the previous government of taking their eye off the ball?
Yes, so Senator Wong, prior to the last election, accused the Liberal government of dropping the ball on the Pacific Islands. And then, of course, we had Albo rush over there after he was elected and gave Sogavare big hugs. And now we've seen, you know, forget dropping the ball is deflated and gone, and Australia is surrounded. Where is Albo? Where is Penny Wong, our foreign minister?
No, but it's okay
Richard
because
Marles?
Ramos Horta, the president of East Timor, has said that Australians and Indonesians can sleep peacefully at night. All is okay. Can we afford to take him at his word?
We can't be... Our sea lines of communication and the approaches to Australia run through East Timor and they run through Solomon Islands, and both of those countries under this government's watch are now compromised with military agreements with China, with the Chinese Communist Party, which directly affects Australia.
So it's not just danger from afar, the external threat. What about bushfire season? You want to talk about that in terms of this proposal to potentially create a new paid force of fighters?
Yeah, so it came out that Labor Senator Watt has said that all options are on the table to look at what California has done, paying a bushfire service, which is above what they're doing with their own fireys, in order to combat their big bushfires that they have, similar to what we have. And so I think Labor is looking at this as another level of bureaucracy. You know, you've never seen a Labor government that won't spend more money on bureaucracy. we've been talking for years, I remember with your old man and with other people, that why don't we have a volunteer bushfire service? Why don't we open up the National Service for volunteers as well, and not just for fireys and bushfires, but also for AMBOs and police, and have our youth volunteer and do something for Australia and feel proud about it.
Yeah, Dad was very, very proud of the work he did as a volunteer bushfighter, so a shout out to that lovely station just as you enter Royalla out there in New South Wales, just outside of Canberra. Lincoln, I've now decided off the back of Lara that it will be a prerequisite for anyone who comes on my show. You must sing 2 lines of your favourite song.
You know, you're really funny to do that to me after we just looked at that and joked about it.
And you got powder on before, but I can tell you what, you've gone red.
I've totally gone red because I can't sing and nor can I dance. I have 2 left feet.
This is going to be...
AC/DC is certainly my favourite.
This is going to be awful, but a Linkin Park song? That came from a producer in my head. Linkin Parker, thank you so very much.
Thank you,
Great
Erin.
stuff.